Robert in Buffalo.
All right.
Robert, you're live with Eric and V. What would you like to talk about?
Awesome, I got on.
Hey.
So, religious or spiritual use of DMT and psychedelics.
Okay, what about it?
What it could show people. So about a year ago, got interested in history, and I, along the lines of following this path, I came across DMT, dimethyltryptamine. I was able to, make it very easily at my home and dabble with it. And the experience itself it's confounding. It's paradigm shattering.
Why?
I was
Why?
I was a Roman Catholic for 30 years.
Robert.
And then, yeah.
What about DMT? Yeah, what about DMT is confounding and paradigm shattering?
The repeatable steps. Every time you do it, it's repeatable.
Okay.
The
So
white
every
light
time you
behind
do
the eye,
drugs,
similar to a near death.
well, yeah, every time you do drugs, those drugs are going to have that effect on your brain. Why do you think you're getting something other than messing with your brain chemistry?
Well, DMT is in your brain chemistry. It's in your lungs. It's in your body. It's not an outside source.
Hold on.
You can use it as an outside source.
No, hold on. You're absolutely conflating those things. Yes, it can be found in the brain, but not at the levels that you're at when you take it, which is why you take it. Otherwise, we'd all be tripping balls all the time, right? So I don't care that it's found. I care about whether or not you're messing with your brain chemistry, and if you think you're doing something more than that. Because if you think drugs are cool, I mean, I agree. Like I've done spiritual and spiritual shamanistic drugs, and I had a really good time. But I never thought, well, I did at the time, but afterwards I never hit the conclusion that that I was doing anything other than messing with my brain chemistry.
Well, of course, it's messing with your brain chemistry. Everything about us is a chemical reaction of one way or another. That's just how life is.
Why is it paradigm shifting? If it's just another chemical and everything's chemicals, then why is it different?
Because what it shows you in the experience itself, the visuals are nothing like you could imagine. Life itself to me seems a lot more dull and unreal. Yes, very much so. But I've been able to achieve these states recently without ingesting DMT, by doing it natural through meditation and through yoga practices. And by doing that, I had what you would call the non-duality experience. So the reason it's interesting to me because...
Robert.
Can I ask you a question? Why are you attributing this to DMT? Everybody, like if you are practiced enough, you can get to that state through meditation, through yoga. I've gotten to a state similar to that doing yoga myself. Why are you linking this to DMT? Why are you not just saying, hey, my brain can do this thing?
It's uncanny. Now, the steps when you vape
that's not
DMT,
let's.
Does uncanny equal DMT? How are you linking that to DMT?
When you can, there's no way that I could prove that I was releasing DMT endogenously in my brain. I can't prove that. There's no way to, unless they're going to cut my head open and stick a straw to my pineal gland. There's no way. But when you ingest DMT, the stages are the same. When you vape it, the white light, the chrysanthemum, which is it looks like a mandala or a flower that spins, and when you go through it. Now, when you can produce DMT naturally without ingesting it from an external source, the steps are the same. It's exactly the same, which makes it uncanny.
Okay.
Yes.
So I've seen a lot of very, very cool things, and I've had a lot of amazing experiences. The point of this show is to call in to talk about what you believe and why. So I'm assuming
that we are all.
Hold on.
In my experiences,
Robert, let me finish, please. I'm assuming that you're saying that your experiences on drugs are correlating to something in the real world. That you're
no.
So
no, nothing from there is taken from the real world. Nothing from there is taken from here.
Okay, so you're saying you're messing
there.
Well, hold on. If you're saying you're messing with your brain chemistry and it has nothing to do with the real world, then cool. Are we done?
Well, eyes are closed. It's not like you're looking at the real world. Your eyes are closed. It's all behind your eyelid.
What? Robert, I challenge you to put that in not ridiculous speak. Can we put that in English? What are you talking about? You're not seeing until you close your eyes because the real world is behind your eyelids. What the hell does that mean?
No, I think he's saying that the experience
Have
of
you had a psychedelic experience?
Yes, I have.
Right?
I have. I thought I was astral projecting over the beach. I have had deep spiritual conversations with my ceiling fan. I have had, numerous out of body experiences and experiences where I thought things were morphing into other things. And all of those times, I never actually thought that the world was changing or that I was getting some deeper. Well, actually, I was trying to see if I could tap into the collective unconscious. I was trying to see if there was some, deeper level to reality. And my ultimate conclusion was, no, I was just screwing with my brain chemistry. And there are a lot of other people who like screwing with their brain chemistry and telling themselves that they're doing something else. And so the question that I'm wondering is, Robert,
that you didn't have the right experience, though? Is that possible? That if you had a different experience, it would confound? What's that?
Well, so here's the thing: is if again you're answering my statement with something that is slightly different, and so we're going to talk past each other if we keep doing that.
Okay, agreed.
Okay. So what I care about is whether or not you're talking about something that is actual and real and something that we should believe about the world that we don't currently, that you do. I'm assuming that's why you called. Is that right?
Anybody can experience this. That's
I didn't ask you if anyone can experience it, Robert. First, answer my question. Let's start with square one. The square one.
Okay.
Do you think that? I don't want to strawman you. Is that something that you believe?
Say that one more time.
Sure. That you have an understanding about the universe that we don't, that you want us to believe because you believe that it is true about the world. And so
I don't. Yes, I do. I do believe that I understand life and things more than most people do. Okay. And that might include you. I don't know what you believe.
Totally understood. So what is it that you want to communicate that you know about the world that we don't?
Everything is connected at one. Everything is.
What does that mean?
It's all connected.
What does that mean?
It means everything. It means that you are every piece of grass. I am you. You are me.
I'm pretty sure my name is Eric and your name is Robert, and I'm in Texas and you're in Buffalo. Can you communicate that in a better way? Because you have to understand that what you're doing is so fluffy and nebulous that you're not actually communicating well. Is there a better way to communicate what you're trying to say?
That you are everything? How else would you
thank
put
you.
that?
That's very sweet, but I don't think that's what you mean either.
Okay, so can I
How do you put that into language?
Robert, because you said that everything we experience is a chemical reaction, right? You reduced our experience to chemical reactions, which I'm technically inclined to agree with to an extent, okay? But you can't say that and then also you are the grass, I am you, you are me. How do the two things connect? Is it just because we're all made up of similar chemicals, or we all are susceptible to certain, where is the link between everything's a chemical reaction and we are all connected?
Because all the chemicals are connected. Even modern physics can tell you that everything is just one source of energy. So
hold on, Robert, before you stop. Hold on. We can get to energy. But right now we're talking about chemicals and you need to answer these questions.
Connected how? How are the chemicals connected?
How are they not connected?
Try answering the question. Try again, Robert. Answer what B is asking.
Every air molecule, everything is giving off a reaction. Even though you can't, what you think is empty space, you know it's air. You know that it's there. You're breathing it right now, the same as me. But you can't see it. Who's to say that it's not there? It's obviously still there. So is the carbon, so is radiation and everything. It's all merged into one.
Okay, so because we're all touching the air at the same time, we are the same thing? Or are you just saying that because we're all breathing air, then we are technically connected by the air?
No, it's much more than that.
Then explain.
At some point, it's really hard to put into language what you experience. But once you actually merge into everything and you can see that you're not a body anymore, that you are not what you thought you were, that's hard to put into words.
Okay. So that's fascinating to me. Are you saying that Okay, so when you say we are not a body, that's just something we thought we were, are you actually saying that you do not believe that you have an actual physical body, or are you using that in a metaphorical way to say, like, oh, I think I'm more than my body?
I am more than my body. Now, the way I could say it to you is, this body is mine. I obviously control that, but it is not me. There's a difference between mine and me, what I am.
Okay, so we're getting down to the root of that. What is you?
Everything. I am everything.
Well, then you are your body, and you just completely contradicted yourself.
How is that? How does that
You're
make
not
sense?
your body. You're
No.
you. What are you? Everything. So does it mean you're everything but your body?
as well. I have a body. It's mine. It's not me. So my body.
V asked you, what is you?
everything.
And you're talking, when I
feel
say
like we're-
everything, I mean
So
every body, every
wait.
blade of grass,
So
every
Thomas
star, every
mowed the grass
molecule.
today.
Yes.
Did Thomas mow Robert? Is that what you're saying?
Say that one more time.
Our Eric's roommate mowed the lawn today. Are you saying that Eric's roommate mowed you today?
Yes, in a way, yes.
Okay. Perfect. Then we have actually defined, we've gone over both parts of a fallacy. That is the fallacy of composition and the fallacy of division.
Mm-hmm.
So a statement about the whole.
Well, who are you to decide that it's a fallacy?
Let me explain it. I can actually explain it and show you. And by the way, something being a fallacy doesn't mean that it's necessarily false, but it does mean that the description you're giving does not necessarily follow from the other. So let me clear this up. The fallacy of division is the idea that a statement about a part of the whole is the same as a statement about the whole, right? So if I were to take a car and take off the steering wheel, I would look at that steering wheel and say, well, this is a car. And I would take off the door, and this is a car, and the tire is also a car, and all of them are cars. And when you put it together, it's a car. No, that is fallacious. When you start to break things apart, they can become different things. Now, the fallacy of composition is the other way around, right? You're saying that what is true for the parts is true for the whole, and so you would look at a cake and try and treat it as if it was its core components, as if the egg is still, just the egg, or the flour, is still malleable and you can do things. I mean, it changes, things change. And as you add and subtract components, what is true for the components and the whole is different from the others. So when you're saying I am everything and you are everything and all of that, that is fallacious in that way. Now, if you're saying that everything's connected via air, who gives a crap? I mean, if you're saying, because what does that mean? I don't understand what is profound if you're saying that there is an unbroken, amount of air and other chemicals because the world is chemicals between you and I. That doesn't make us the same person.
It doesn't make us the same. The infinite cosmos is obviously
okay. Then add that in. That the statement is still true. Just because there's that connection doesn't mean that we're the same person. Hell, dude, we could be conjoined twins in different people.
Of course, because there's different levels of consciousness. But in my experience,
what do you mean by
all
that,
one.
Robert? I think that is a really good place to zoom in. Obviously, your view of consciousness and what we are is different. And that's exactly what V was trying to get to, is what are you talking about? And you're saying everything, and so you're obfuscating. You are throwing up a cloud of smoke and showing us nothing useful.
I don't think it's a cloud of smoke. I just think you're not to the level of understanding that I am.
We're just too dumb to understand. Got it.
Just like not enlightened.
That's why I'm
You have to
Yeah.
become one with everything.
No,
else, so.
I got it. Okay, so let me try it like this. Because I do understand the bullshit. I just don't believe it's true, and I'm sticking you with it. No, I get it.
Because you believe it.
Because
Well,
I
you
went
believe
through
it,
it, and
though.
there was a time that I believed it. I got better.
Well, you shouldn't believe anything. Isn't that what atheists do? You don't believe? I don't believe either.
I'd be happy to talk to you about that, Robert.
Yeah.
But quit trying to change the subject. Because does it make you uncomfortable that I tell you that I understood what you're talking about? And that I believed it at one time?
No, not at
And that
all.
I could concisely tell it to you. Does that mean that that somehow what? Because we didn't come to the same conclusion as you, that somehow that we're not as enlightened as you? How condescending? How could it possibly be?
I never said I was enlightened. You could have an enlightenment experience and not be enlightened.
Robert.
Yes.
Answer the statement, dude. If you're going to nitpick it, then obviously it doesn't, like, come on.
Well, you keep bringing up a bunch of different topics, so I respond to them.
So then
should I just stay quiet?
I've got a good idea.
Sure.
Robert,
go ahead.
We're going to move on to the next caller, but if you want to call in next week and talk about what atheists believe or don't believe, that is a conversation that we can all dig into a whole lot.
Sure.
And probably will be a lot more one direction as opposed to this last conversation, which kind of took us all over the map. So call back in and we'll talk about what we don't believe and why.
No. And also just to clarify, Robert, what I want to know from you is what is discreet about Robert? What makes Robert different from Eric? And how are those things?
I don't consider myself me.
Okay.
I don't differentiate me from you.
Okay, so we're going to hang up and talk to you again, but you're going to be in a different name, in a different town, talking about something else.
Yeah.
Sounds
maybe.
good.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
just the idea. Well, maybe you just haven't thought about it. Maybe you haven't considered it. No, we've considered it.
Yeah.
The idea that it makes me, that meme, that meme. It's kind of that. It's appealing to things that sound really deep, man.
Yeah,
and it's empty
I
calories.
I get it though. Like I understand how you can think that. I thought that at one point. I was like, oh man, I'm tapped into something. I get it. And if other people don't get it, that means that they just haven't tapped into the same thing I did. It's not necessarily I'm a better person.
Yeah.
But I looked at that again with a critical eye and realized, oh, wait, if I can't pinpoint why I'm feeling this way or what convinced me or how to analyze whether or not this is an accurate assessment, then it's not really very useful for anything.
No, not at all. I actually thought that there was this psychic link that everybody had.
Oh yeah, same.
The collective unconscious.
Yeah, I read Jung. That was my beach read back when I was in a pretentious undergrad.
We're still pretentious.